How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Today I just wanted to talk about an email I got from a person who was saying that their partner was going off and drinking on their own or with their friends. They were coming back to the house probably when they were drunk, and this person felt that their partner was laughing at them basically, and that their group of friends now was taking the mick, and not being very supportive. I've spoken about this a lot before about, what do you do if your partner still drinks, or what do you do if your other half still drinks? And it's an important subject to talk about. Now, I've only limited knowledge about this field, and my knowledge is only is limited by my own relationships, right? And how my relationships have sort of gone either way over the past. And I've seen things from both sides of the spectrum. I've been in relationships where the other person was taking a drug that I didn't want to take and putting up with that kind of scenario. I've also been on the end where I'm the one that's been taking the drug, whether it's alcohol or whatever, and the other person not wanting to, or not liking the person that I was while I was drinking, and not liking really the lifestyle that I was following. So I've seen it from both sides, but as I say, my knowledge is going to be restricted to my relationships and what I've seen myself. So just from that viewpoint, the first thing I'd say to you is, it's not, another person's behavior is not your fault, right? There's nothing you can really do about it. You can't, I think there's different ways to do this, I don't think you can ever change another person by telling them to change, right? That's not going to work. Or I think talking to somebody, especially somebody that's close to you, like your partner, is a very important thing. I think it's important to sort of sit down and talk these things through and say, well, this is how I feel, and be very honest about it. Because these things have a tendency to fester if they're left undealt with. So you've got to be honest for your own sake. As I say, it's no good most of the time trying to force another person to sort of conform to what you're doing, because it's just not going to work. I mean, I tried that in the beginning, overtly tried to influence the people around me to also stop drinking, but it was basically for my own gain. I didn't want people around me drinking because I didn't want to think about alcohol, and that was it's wrong of me to do that. I've got to be strong enough to do this on my own, because alcohol is everywhere. The advertising is everywhere. It's like you just can't get away from it. So one way or another, you're going to be influenced by alcohol drinkers, right? So whether it's in your own house or outside. And I've accepted that as part of my life. I'm 3.5 years into this now, and as I say, it doesn't bother me anymore that Esther drinks alcohol. I'm not a great one for talking and for expressing myself, but if I feel that it's going to damage our relationship, then I will. I'll summon up the ability from somewhere, and I'll sit down and say, look, this is happening, this is the way I feel about it, and I really don't like it, and see where we go from there. It's definitely not a good place to be in, to think that people are laughing at you, but again, it's a reaction that you're having. So whether or not it's real or not, it is a reaction, and you've got to sort of address that. So that's one thing I'd say to you. I got the impression as well from the email that you were still drinking a little bit to prove to yourself. I think you said in the email that you had a drink every so often to prove to yourself that you didn't like it anymore. Now for me, that's it's something that I'm going through now as a vegan, right? Every so often I'll have some chocolate that I know has got milk in it, and I don't want to drink milk anymore, right? But I didn't think there was a problem with that, right? Because I'd say, well, you know, like I'm on more of the whole foods plant-based diet, right? More than veganism, right? And I'm doing it for my health, so you know, it's the smaller of two evils. I'm not eating any animal flesh, so now I can still continue to you know, have a little drop of milk every so often. It's not going to do me any harm, right? But the point is that if you want to influence other people, if you want to get other people to drink less, you've got to be consistent with your own beliefs. And you know, same with me and my diet. When people are looking at me and going, well, you know, you're not really following your own principles, are you? You know, so why would you even think that I was going to follow your principles? Do you know, if every so often when I was out with my son, I had said, oh yeah, well, look, I'm going to have a half a glass of beer now, or I'm going to have a half glass of wine just to prove that I can, then, you know, it's going against my own principles. It's going against that you know, it's basically saying that I don't believe 100% in what I'm doing. Now, as I say, I will never put alcohol inside my mouth anymore. I don't need to prove anything to myself. I don't need to prove anything to anyone around me. I see people, with friends who we see every so often, and they have quit smoking, right? But as soon as their kids are out of the way and they're on holidays, they buy a packet of cigarettes and they smoke these cigarettes. And we were with them the last time, and they were, it was the weirdest thing. We were sat with them, these are two adults, same age as ourselves, and we were sat with them in a restaurant, a local restaurant, and their two daughters were there, and they said, yeah, do you want to do this? Yeah, blah blah. We finished the meal and stuff, and there was an ice cream place down the road from where we were sitting, you know. And the father actually gave the kids money and said, yeah, go down there and get yourself some ice creams and stuff like that. And as soon as the kids were out of the way, they pulled out this packet of cigarettes, and I was shocked. And it was like they smoked 2 cigarettes each in the time that their kids were away, and they came back, and they were saying, don't say anything in front of the kids that they were smoking, you know. And they were saying they just, you know, they wanted to prove that they could do this, that they didn't really need the cigarettes anymore. And it was just, I don't know, it seemed, it just seemed sad for me, for one thing, you know, for these people, because, you know, these people are intelligent people. She's got a great job, he's got a great job, you know, they're smart people, and yet they were doing this to themselves, you know, and I just didn't understand it. So, look, all I'm saying is that you've got to be 100% consistent with yourself if you're trying to convince other people to follow your route, and to say, you know, for you to say, well, this is the best way to live your life, you know, that alcohol is a poison, alcohol is a toxin not only to your body but to your life, and look how good I am not drinking alcohol. So as soon as you start going back to it and drinking alcohol, even if it's only in small amounts, when other people see you doing that, they realise that you're not 100% committed to it yourself. So they take that 100% commitment, and any sort of, you know, hope that you had of them following suit has just disappeared in the blink of an eye. So I'm just saying that from one perspective, right? Mainly, you know, I would suggest that you sit down and talk to your partner about this, because, you know, this is it's a serious thing if you think that somebody's laughing behind your back, you know. On another lighter side of this, right, you know, I get people laughing at me all the time that I'm a vegan and I don't drink anymore, you know. I get people offering me drinks still, you know, go and have a drink, you know, what's wrong with you, you know. I say, oh no, you're a non-drinker, or you're a vegan, or, you know, they take the piss out of me, you know. And it's like, I get used to it now. It's water off a duck's back. So there's that perspective as well, you know. And then there's the perspective, sometimes if I'm a little bit paranoid, I might be out in company and stuff like that, and I think that people, you know, like I sort of put my thoughts into their minds, and I think, well, geez, are these people thinking that about me, or that person's thinking about that, you know. And I have to sort of say to myself, well, you know, that's not really true. That's me projecting my own thoughts, you know, my own insecurities at this time onto that person. But Different story when it's with your partner, but you know, you should feel that you can talk to your partner, and I hope that you feel that you can. Please, if there's anybody else that's got any better advice about this than me, I'm not saying my advice is, I was asked a question and I'm giving my advice from the way I see it, you know, and it might not be the right advice at all, and I'm sorry if it's not, you know. You know, and I'm sorry if it's not, you know, but it's the advice that I've got for you, so take it for, you know, with a pinch of salt. And if anyone else has got any better advice, then please leave them down below in the comments. You know, this is all a community. We're trying to help each other. We're trying to get each other across that line and to keep going down this new journey of ours, you know. So anyway, until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for Alcohol Mastery. I really hope that that helped you. Stay safe, keep the alcohol out of your mouth, onwards and upwards. Good luck.